in my first video, I spoke about my Guildhall audition, and I'm going to move on to one of the craziest auditions things I've ever applied for, which was Juilliard School in New York. Juilliard has, I should say, such an amazing acting program. I'm not going to go in any further, but anybody that, knows about Juilliard knows it's an alright school. It's an alright school to get into. I live in London, so obviously my first thing was like, wow, applying for New York drama school, is this really realistic? Am I being too charismatic? Am I not really staying in touch with reality? But I thought, you know what? I don't want to have regrets in life, and I knew that if I didn't apply to Juilliard, I would always regret it. So I filled out that application. Literally, their application is one of the longest ones I've ever done. Literally, I felt like they were trying to interview me for the Secret Service. It was intense. They asked for so many details. Literally, my head was like, and because I live in London and obviously I would be an international student, they asked for 2 pre-screening videos, one showing a classical monologue and the other one showing a contemporary monologue. So after a lot of researching, I finally found the 2 that I wanted to show. Filming it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, where should I film it? Where's the best place to do it? Should I do it in a casual setting? I don't want to do it at home because I think it's too casual. Basically, my head was like spinning. I finally did it in like a little mini studio place with the help of my incredible acting teacher. Hi Louise, thanks for your help. I filled out the application. I think it took me about, like I did it in bits and pieces, the application, but I think if I sat down and did it all in one, including references, because you also have to get references, it took me probably including recording, remember my 2 pre-screening videos, probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It was intense. It was intense. It was very, very intense. So I finally got the application out. So many problems uploading my files. I thought I was going to kill somebody. When I say uploading my files, I mean my video files, my 2 pre-screening videos. And literally was just I had to leave them uploading, and it said oh, submit your application and it will upload later on. I was like, it best upload, otherwise I'm going to have a mental breakdown. So I remember Juilliard say that they're going to get back to you. I think it's the 21st of December. I'm checking my emails every freaking day. I checked the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st in the morning, and I'm like, I didn't get in. With all this work and an additional fee of $80, I think it is, every drama school charges, as I'm sure you guys know, I did not hear back from them that Friday morning, and I was just like, well, I guess that's that. I didn't get in. I tried my hardest. What can you do? Lo and behold, I check my email in the evening and it says, congratulations, we would like you to come for an audition in New York. This sounds really weird, but I honestly didn't think that I would get an audition. And I remember saying that to my mum. My mum was like, what is the point in auditioning when you think you're not going to get it? And I was like, no, it's not that. It's just, not only did I not hear back from them, but I just thought the competition for a school like Juilliard is so incredibly intense that the odds were just stacked against me. But I guess I should have more faith in myself. As I said before, I didn't think I was going to get in, but obviously once I did, I realised, crap, I need to think of accommodation, I need to think of flights, I need to think of, Juilliard asked for 4 pieces, which is 2 classical, 2 contemporary, and a song. But basically, Juilliard's application was intense, preparing to go there was intense, finally getting there was intense. So unfortunately, Juilliard don't supplement or help out with any of the costs of getting there. So literally, I scraped together my paychecks. When I say scraped, I mean it was a very tight month, and that was Christmas. Juilliard doesn't do auditions outside of America, unfortunately. I really think they should do auditions in London and many other cities around the globe, but they only do America. Luckily, my very, very, very good friend was able to come with me, but that's another thing I was worried about. I didn't want to go all the way to New York by myself to go through such a stressful time and not have anybody there as well to, support me. And as this is for people that understand audition processes, it's stressful enough, but being in a different continent and going through that, it's a lot of pressure. And I was very, very, very grateful to have a very good friend of mine back me up in that way. She also went to New York for her own self because she wanted to shop and party as well. So I didn't exactly force her into it. Yeah, getting to New York was crazy. I found my accommodation through Airbnb, through a lot of looking. I booked my flights, it was crazy. There was a time where I didn't think I was going to get out to New York because the weather was so bad. They were cancelling all the flights. And like, geez Louise, will I even get into New York to do my, like, what's going to happen? I remember emailing the head of admissions being like, they're cancelling flights left and right. What do I do if they cancel my flight to New York? And I remember asking her, do you ever move auditions? And she was like, in my 30 years of working for Juilliard, they have never moved an audition. I was like, okay, calm yourself down, just asking the question, but I get your point. Get to the audition. Juilliard is like, literally, like, it's all made of glass, and the outside, I mean, is like open plan windows. It feels very intimidating. I literally felt like I was about to go on X Factor in front of thousands of people and they were going to tell me that I'm shit and just to go home. Walking up those stairs to Juilliard was one of the most electrifying, scary, incredible moments of my life. And it was one of those things where I was like, after all the hassle of, taking time off work, with scraping the money together to even get there, to finding the perfect pieces, to finding the right song for me, bringing that all together was crazy intense. I finally get to Juilliard, they get my name down and they say, here's the waiting room, I should say. And, everybody's friendly. There's a couple of people that love to name drop. Oh, I've worked with this and this person. Oh, I've worked with this theatre company. Okay, they didn't speak like that because most of them were American, but you get my gist. There are a lot of people that like to show off, but also there were a lot of cool people there. I think the waiting is one of the worst parts on an audition. My heart, my hands, like every part of me was sweating. Like, it was one of those things where I worked so hard to even get to New York, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't believe I'm here. So as I said, I got to the audition. There's 3 people sitting there. One of them is a singing coach at Juilliard. The other 2 are, I think, head of acting or something like that. Rewind, though, one of those people that was sitting on that judging table, I call it, did the warm-up with us, and the warm-up was so lovely and inviting. It made me just think, this is the place where I want to be for the next 4 years. Like, I can do this. With the first round audition, they asked for 1 classical, 1 contemporary, and 1 song. They asked me to do my other classical, and then they asked for my song. I did my song. One of the things I was most worried about was my song, and my song I felt was the best part. That's one thing that annoys me about auditions. You can prepare as much as you want, but you never know how it's going to turn out. Or even, you never know what the director's going to want that day. Anyway, so I did my pieces, and it was a strange feeling. As soon as I did my pieces, I knew that's not what they wanted, that's not what they were looking for, and that's not me doubting myself. I know I performed the best I could do, be whatever you want to say, but I could just tell it was just not what they were looking for. So I walked out really upset. I remember texting my drama teacher, because remember, I'm in New York. I don't want to be calling abroad. That's expensive, shizzle. I texted my drama teacher being like, you know what? I really don't think that I'm going to go through. She was like, you never know. Wait to see, blah, blah, blah. So obviously I go back into the waiting room. The wait is excruciating. I had a book that I brought so I could read. I read the same page like 5 times. I brought food to snack on. I couldn't eat properly. It was hard. It was hard. It was very, very hard. And finally, the wait is over, and they post the list of the names of the people that are going to go through to the second round. Some people wait behind, let other people see it, and then, come up to see. I had to be one of the first to, see whether my name was on the list. Get to the sheet of paper with all the names. My name's not on it. I read that list 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know why I thought my name was going to appear, but I guess you can always wish. I was devastated. I really hoped that, even though, I did say and felt that I wasn't what they were looking for, I still had hope. I was once again, as I said, devastated, and I was very, 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 very lucky to have my very good friend waiting downstairs for me. She's the one that came up from London to New York with me. I walked out of Juilliard and I just broke. It was so weird. I cried and cried and cried. I went into department store and the guy was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was just like, I didn't get into Juilliard. And he was just like, I'm an actor too. Don't worry, keep going. And it was weird. I got home. Before I got home, I bought a very nice burrito. And I got home, ate the burrito. Me and my best mate talked for a long time. And I was okay. I'd come to peace with it. It was very strange because I realised I did everything in my power to get there. I did the best that I can do. I was happy with my performance. Yes, I do wish I had let go a little bit because I was stressed out, but that's something that just to take on for the next audition that I have in the future. But I think the most important thing that I learned through that whole experience is that I am tough enough to deal with the blows that auditions can throw you. When I say tough enough, let me also say that I feel like I'm tough enough I organise the flights, I organise the accommodation with the help of my friend. I, was back and forth corresponding with the Juilliard team. I did my pre-screening videos. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not pretending that I did this as like a lone wolf type of thing. I had great help from my acting teacher and my cousin and my friend who came out there with me. But it came down to my perseverance. It came down to my drive. And I realised I do have drive once I start going. And I'm very, very happy that I went to Juilliard. Yes, obviously the outcome was not how I intended it to come out, but I tried. That's all you could do. That night, I found out I didn't get into Juilliard. I started watching Orange is the New Black on Netflix, which cheered me up like that. And also, I'm not going to lie, salt in the wounds that two of the actors from Orange is the New Black actually went to Juilliard. That did, rub that salt in the wound a little bit and whatever. I learnt that even though I can fall, I can pick myself up again, which I think is a really valuable thing to learn about yourself. I think I am quite hard on myself, but I think many performers are, or many people in general are, no matter what profession that you're in. But at the same time, I realised that, you know what? As long as you keep trying and as long as you do the best that you can't really fault yourself, really. And I think that's why, even though obviously I was devastated I didn't get into Juilliard, I was able to move on because I knew I had tried my hardest. And that's all you can do. It was obviously the couple of days after my audition. Being in New York was incredible. But at the same time, I was able to truthfully relax because I had months of crapping myself about this audition. And then the flights and everything was just crazy. So afterwards, it was really, really nice to unwind. And to have my very good friend there as well was incredible. And it was Super Bowl weekend, so people were going crazy. It was just an incredible experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, to be honest. I don't regret any part of that experience whatsoever. And I'm even considering applying for Juilliard again this year. So Juilliard, watch out. You might see me again. So yeah, that was all I have to say about the experience. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found my experience helpful in some way or just a fun thing to watch. Bye.